Welcome to my latest podcast and YouTube video. I'm Rosenberg. As you already know, I start off the video by explaining our self-love recovery mailbag, which basically is you guys leave a comment in our YouTube video, or you send an email to help@selfloverecovery.com and ask a question that you'd like me to answer at the end of each video. Typically, I have a topic that I talk about and then reserve about 5 or 10 minutes for the self-love mailbag question. But today is going to be a little bit different. This whole video is going to address the most recent self-love recovery mailbag question. Let me read it to you. I have a sister who is the scapegoat focus of some debilitating, disoriented, and long-term narcissistic abuse. She is a kind, contentious, and dedicated daughter who has a lot of love and thoughtfulness, kindness to give. Although we both suffer from narcissistic attacks and emotional manipulation from a parent and another sibling, she is the main target. We are lucky to have each other's support within the family, and surviving it has been a decades-long tiresome fight. The conversations take up too much time in our lives. My question, given that non-engagement is key and fighting is pointless and not recommended, how to be the best ally I can be to my sister. For various reasons, we aren't going full no contact with the abusers, but I am so disgusted by the behavior, I wish I could. If I did, it would cause more problems. Although I love and wish only good things for the perpetrators, a parent and another sibling, I feel false carrying on as if nothing is wrong. Non-confrontation feels like enabling instead of allyship. Is it the best of a set of bad options? Thanks in advance. Anonymous, or just say Edward. Okay, we know that's not your real name, but Edward, let me first say, you never heard it from me that no contact or ignoring people's abuse or acting as if it didn't happen, or what some people call gray rocking, is the right thing to do. I have been opposed to the concept of gray rocking ever since someone explained it to me. Essentially, gray rock means to act boring, act disinterested, act like nothing is bothering you. So the narcissist doesn't get any satisfaction out of their domination, their control, their antagonism. They realize over time that you're not going to make them feel good about themselves, so they move on to other people. It's a crazy idea. Crazy. The gray rock method is wrong. Because essentially what it's teaching you is to become invisible, melt into background, become the wallpaper of another person's life so that they don't get any satisfaction from hurting you. The sacrifice is tremendous. It is not worth it. It never has been worth it. Do not use gray rock method to survive any type of dysfunctional family abuse or personal, marital, romantic, work abuse. You don't want to diminish yourself and become invisible and teach the abuser that you don't matter, because really they don't forget about you. They don't get tired of it. They actually feel stronger and more emboldened by the more you become invisible, the more you act like you don't care. You are feeding into them. You are empowering them. You are enabling them. The gray rock method is analogous to, if not equal to, disassociating. Disassociating is to stop, prevent, cover up your emotional self with numbness, a void, a blanket of non-emotions. It's to put an analgesic or a narcotic drug into your system so that you can't feel any of it. And then you go through your life being hurt, abused, harmed, gaslit, and it seems like it doesn't hurt, but you are missing out And the miracle of life, the miracle of why we come into this world is we are here to live, to find something that's meaningful, love, accomplishment, relationships. Why waste your life and become wallpaper, become this non-person, become this numbed out person so that someone passes you up and they don't hurt you? The sacrifice is too big. Even if we are talking about a family and we're talking about an inheritance, and often that is a discussion that I have with some of my clients, especially when they're older. They know that if they should stand up to the parent who's aging, who is a pathological narcissist, that they will be disinherited. Well, sometimes that's too big of a sacrifice. And that is an individual question that you need to have with your best friend, someone you trust, a psychotherapist. Because that's a choice you make. But you have to do a really accurate cost-benefit analysis. What do you lose by not looking interesting enough so the narcissist moves on to something else? It's just way too big. What I recommend instead is to understand that you have this disorder called self-love deficit disorder, aka codependency, that because of deeply embedded core shame, bone-aching pathological loneliness, this addiction to a relationship so that you don't have to feel the pain of your existence, and this nonstop caretaking, sacrificing, being invisible personality type that gives to everyone else and gets so little in return. The goal of my treatment program, my self-love recovery treatment program, is to understand that this self-love deficiency is a curse that if you take it to your grave, you will go out of your life like my mom did and many of our own parents did, regretting that you didn't stand up for yourself to either protect your children or yourself, thinking that one day you would get the love, respect, care, trust, protection you deserve. Don't live your life that way. I'm not suggesting you fight, you go rogue and aggressively fight the narcissist. No, absolutely not. I don't talk about that. In fact, I created my observe, don't absorb technique to explain how we disconnect with the pathological narcissist who gets power from our reactions. I based it upon the saying by George Bernard Shaw, don't wrestle with pigs, you'll get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. I've taught my people, I've taught you, I've taught so many people out on YouTube or people who want to watch my full-length seminar videos or read my books, The Human Magnet Syndrome or The Codependency Revolution, and explain that there is a way to escape narcissistic abuse and gaslighting. It's not to defend yourself, to become a better fighter. It's not to become numb. It's certainly not to do gray rock. It's to know that your life is too important to spend it as a self-love deficient punching bag, as this empty vessel waiting for salvation, waiting for redemption, waiting for someone to finally recognize your inherent worth, your inherent gold. You come to understand that your choices are based upon your childhood in which you were born to pathological narcissism and codependence, and you grew up in a world where you learned that the only way that you get, and I quote this, love, if you shape yourself or mold yourself into the type of child who makes other people feel good about themselves. You become the trophy child, the good child, the princess, the gift for the narcissist who can never get enough but always wants more. It started at a time that was not your fault, and you should never be blamed for it. But as an adult, we have to take responsibility. Yes, we can rail against the narcissist. Of course, they're despicable. They're terrible people. But we have to take responsibility for ourselves, because only then can we overcome a problem that will take our lives away. And I don't mean physically, I mean emotionally, spiritually. We have to recognize that because of our self-love deficit disorder, we have unconsciously found ourselves in these relationships with pathological narcissists and decided to not leave, or was tricked not to leave, was gaslighted not to leave, and ultimately decided that there was more to lose than finding your way out than there is to just just hunkering down and dealing with the craziness and just getting through it alive. Observe, don't absorb teaches you to understand that it is futile to fight with the narcissist, to get into the wrestling ring with these, and I quote this, pigs, because the pig loves to wrestle and the pig likes to get dirty. So if you try to go at it assertively, aggressively, stand up to them, you're always going to get your butt kicked. And even if you think you're winning, you're still in a relationship that requires you to constantly battle back. And that is what I call false power syndrome, where you feel strong and emboldened because you're fighting, but you don't realize you're fighting with someone you can never win, their abuse can never be vanquished, and you are participating in this wrestling match where you always, historically, and in the future, will come out on the losing end of that fight. To observe, don't absorb is to understand that they get you if they get you emotionally connected. They get you emotionally entangled. They antagonize you and get you to fight. It's to understand that your power is not to get mad or hurt or antagonized. Is to watch, observe the narcissist, be able to predict, and therefore observe without the reaction, them trying to manipulate you, and have a sense of humor, have a feeling of strength, a feeling of pride, a feeling of mastery. As you are watching someone trying to get power over you, knowing that the only way they can do that is by antagonizing you, by getting you upset, so poisoning you. You are absorbing the poison, you are absorbing the antagonism. Observe the narcissist, expect that they're going to keep doing this, understand that their power is to be antagonized and to fight back, and realize that this false power that you sometimes feel when you fight back and sometimes win, it never lasts, and you're back to the starting point.